Recovery Queen Melissa presents Tales from the Trap. I'm your host, Melissa McMillan. I'm a recovering addict, a human trafficking survivor, and yes, a human trafficking convict. I spent 20 years living in active addiction, experiencing things most couldn't imagine. This podcast is where we tell the truth about the streets, about the system, about survival, recovery, trauma, and the people who never made it out. These stories are raw, real, and sometimes they're hard to hear, but you know what? They matter. This is Tales from the Trap. Okay, we are back. Tales from the Trap. I have not done this in weeks. The end of my summer kind of turned. I had a little, it was going great. I was spitting out content like crazy, and then I don't know. I I met somebody and he fucked my brain up for a minute, and I was all dickmatized and fell in love and shit, and then he turned out to be a fucking racist. Isn't that wild? Of all the things, he's an addict. Well, he is an addict in recovery. But it wasn't like anything like that. He's a fucking blatant racist. Like my Jamie, her sister is having a stag and doe, and I've bought tickets for us to go because he said he could come, and he said it's a Halloween thing, okay, and he sends me a Nazi uniform, an SS soldier uniform, and said, this is what I'm gonna wear. And I was like, oh, would you expect me to dress up like a little Jewish girl with the Star of David on my arm? Like, are you fucking okay? That's not funny. To me, that's not funny. Like, too soon. I don't give a fuck. That's weird. And that was just like the tip of the iceberg, though. Like, he was saying the N-word, hard R, getting his children to say it on FaceTime, said it in front of my kid on FaceTime. But like, I met this guy, we spent 3 days together, and then he left and went home to Sault Ste. Marie. I'm going to tell you what happened. This guy's been in my DMs for like a year, okay? 2024 is when he started messaging me. He doesn't live here. He comes here to work. He's here for 2 months. The 2 months, I didn't message him once. I didn't respond at all. But he still talked to himself in my fucking DMs. Guys do that. So one day, I happened to I clicked on it or something on Facebook Messenger, and he was responding to my story about my dog, my parents' dog. And he asked me out. He was like, hey, it's a long shot, but could I like take you out? And I was like, who does this, like, because I have so many fucking men in my DMs saying fucking stupid shit. Like, oh, you're so beautiful. Let me take you out. And I just can't be bothered, bitch. I cannot be bothered, bro. Okay? They're all fucking... Anyways. So this was that. That's what I thought this was. So when he asked me, I was like, what do you look like? And I went and looked. I know that sounds shallow, but if I'm not attracted to you, homie, like, why are we doing this? I went down that road before, and I'm like, oh, I'll learn to be attracted to them. No, the bitch, you won't. No, the fuck. You will not. No. If you don't have that just by looking at a photo of them, being like, dang, I don't want it. But when I looked at his photo, Jesus fuck me Christ. Bro. And I'm not over exaggerating. He's fucking gorgeous. Beautiful. The 3 days we were together, and like the D, bro, dude, it was like sexcapades type shit. I was dickmatized. I won't add the video that I was showing everybody this for like 3 weeks of the man, but his D, the D is a work of art. Let me just say. Okay. Anyways, we'll move on. Then he leaves again. So I'm like FaceTime girlfriend, right? While he's home with his kids and working in his city with his whatever. So I'm FaceTime girlfriend, right? And I'm over it because I'm like, when is this I'm in love with this man. 3 motherfucking days and I was in love with this man. He was beautiful. And I knew he was a fucking bigot. Like, I knew he told me the first like within the first hour of sitting outside, that he was a fucking bigot. But like people say that and like they're not. You know what I mean? Like they're not. So, and I didn't give a fuck. I was dickmatized. I would have thrown my I was gonna throw if he was here. Okay, if we was here, I would probably have been okay with it. That's fucked up. That's how fucking dickmatized I was. If he was here, I would have been fucked, bud. But he's not. So it was easier for me to be like, meh, you're a fucking bird, bro. Stop saying the N word. You know what I mean? Like, I have a child that is mixed. And you call him Liam Gallagher. Like, you can't. He says my life was like Shameless, which it is. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny because I was dickmatized. And I'm not the type that doesn't talk about like political shit. Like I rally for fucking Palestine and shit. I'd be out there marching and doing fucking what's that word? I'm a what's that word? Hold on, I gotta think of it. I'm a motherfucking activist. Straight shit. I'm a fucking activist. I'm out there going free Palestine and shit. I can't be fucking with no racist. Right? That's kind of like being a hypocrite. But for the D, I would have done it. I'm just saying. Because, bro. And you got to understand, I've been single for so fucking long since Emily's dad left my ass back in 2018. I haven't fucked with nothing real. Like, whatever. Like, little ting-tings, fucking situationships and shit. But nothing like, yo, like, we're going to have a life together kind of shit. And I literally, like, those 3 days, that man had me like talking about the future and gonna be married and like you're moving in and we're buying a house and fucking blah blah blah, like, and he's got a good job, and I was just like dickmatized. Okay, so sorry, I gotta tell you all this shit before we start Tales from the Trap, because you just gotta understand where the vibe is, because if you don't know, because the last time you saw me, I wasn't on the shit that I'm on right now. Let me just say that, because some shit's happened, so we gotta talk about it. So yeah, so that was 3 weeks ago. Guy leaves. I'm FaceTime girlfriend. He's dropping N-words, pulling his kids into the FaceTimes, asking them what's our favorite racial slur, and like crazy shit, right? I've told this story many times, so this is on Tales, so I can say it again. Because our TikTok already knows, and fucking Snapchat stories know that I fucked with a racist. So anyways, he leaves. I'm hanging with my buddies that are of color. And like they're on my stories and stuff, and he's calling them watermelon people and stuff. Like, I was like, yo, this is getting a little bit fucking much. Okay, telling my friend who just has a thing for men of color to stop sleeping with N-words, like crazy shit. And I was like, okay, this is getting fucking old quick. You're not funny. This is not funny. You're being a fucking pig. Like, you're a monster of a human, bro. You know what I mean? And like I said this on Full Circle the other day. Like, my buddies were over, and they're black, and you know, if they're sitting around making jokes, I'll laugh because it's fucking funny. Because if it's a person of color making the fucking jokes about themselves, bitch, I'll laugh. But some Caucasian person out here saying some fucked up shit with their whole ass chest in front of minor children, bitch. Fuck no. Fuck no, bro. I'm not about it. Because I'll fight you. Like, I'll actually fight you. I have a black son. Just so you know. So anyways, it was getting progressively worse and progressively worse and progressively worse. I just stopped answering the motherfucking man's calls. And that's a wrap. Yeah, that's a wrap. And then there was someone else, and then he just didn't match my vibe. So I don't know if I'm gonna even keep trying to date. It's tough out here. It really is. I got a good thing in my house. My kids are good. I don't need no fucking weirdo man in here. You know? So lavender marriages, though, I'm down to have like a male roommate that can like do shit around the house and take my kids to the park. That I'm down with. That I might have. Anyways, okay, so here we go. This is the This is the episode that I want to do today, and it is about accusations. Accusations that tarnish somebody's reputation, not only in life, but like as a whole. But like when you're in the streets and you're in jail and you're, you know, doing that, accusations can fuck your life up, right? I experienced it. I was falsely accused. Well, not falsely. We won't say falsely because according to the law, I did some human trafficking. But I didn't like withhold her medication like the bitch said, and I didn't like make her do nothing. Like I didn't make her do nothing. I was like, "Oh, you want to do sex work? I'll help you." That was that. I didn't make her do shit. I was like, "You want to smoke crack? You better have money." I had money because I was doing sex work. You know what I mean? So I didn't make her do nothing, bitch. But according to the law, because nobody can be involved in your sex work, nobody can be making ads for you, taking pictures of your fucking coochie and putting them on. None of that. Nope. That's illegal. I didn't know that at the time, but apparently it is. I remember calling a human trafficker and asking him, "Bitch, is what I did illegal?" And he was like, "The fuck? Yeah, yeah, Mel. Yeah, it is." And I was like, damn. So, yeah, so we're going to talk about accusations. So I have a bunch of friends who, one of them is passed now, but he had some really fucked up shit. He was accused of some fucked up shit, bro. He was accused in some fucked up shit. And so when he died, I make videos with him in it all the time because he died of a drug overdose. Because I don't want to tell the story now. I'm going to go into it after, but the man's dead and people still say shit. The man's dead. And people still come in my comment section and say that man is a piece of shit. And I know full well the guy didn't do it. Because I know the people who were accusing him of it. He did not do it at all. Okay? He had some fucked up shit. He had some accusations back a long time ago. With some girl, but like this is what I'm gonna say. If you're fucking with girls that do dope, if their lips are moving, they're lying. And I'm not victim blaming. I'm not saying everybody is a liar. I'm just saying I was. And I know how girls operate, especially when they're in the life. You want to get picked up by the cops and start singing a tune on someone else. That's how the girls are. That's how girls are. You rack up a drug debt and say the fucking plug raped you? You know? So, anyways, we'll go into that. And this isn't going to be an episode of victim blaming because I know that men exploit women and there are women who experience horrific things. I experienced horrific things, but I know good men who are accused of fucked up shit by fucked up people. And I know it's not true. And I know that because I know their heart. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. You're on my motherfucking podcast. If you don't want to listen to me talk about it, then see ya. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so also I dyed my hair. It wasn't supposed to be red. It was supposed to be brown. But it's red. It's very fucking red. And it's awkward and short because it's like too long to do like the pixie, but it's too short to do fucking anything else. So, bitch, we've been wearing hats. We've been wearing fucking baseball caps all fucking summer. And this is the best that I could do. This is it. So, anyways. Okay, so I'm going to read a spoken word called accusations and we'll get started into the tea. Okay, so they say words can't kill, but I've seen accusations bury a man alive. No gun, no blade, no blood on the floor, just a whisper, a story, a headline that spreads like fire. And suddenly he's guilty in the courts of the streets, guilty in the eyes of everyone who called him their brother. I've watched men lose their freedom without stepping into a cell, lose their children, their women, their whole name because someone said he did it. And maybe he did, or maybe he didn't. But the accusation itself is the execution. I know because I've worn those chains myself. I was branded with words that didn't tell the whole truth, that twisted my sickness, my desperation into a label that almost crushed my fucking soul. Human trafficker, monster, perpetrator, predator. They almost ended me before I even had the chance to fucking rise. It didn't matter that I was broken, that I was drowning in dope, that I was surviving the only way I fucking knew how. The accusation alone was enough to paint me as evil, enough to erase my fucking humanity. And then there was Kev. Kev was dragged through it too, you know. He was my brother in the trenches, a man who carried Narcan like it was a holy water, who breathed life back into me when I was already gone. But his name, it got dirtied in whispers, accusations that I know and a lot of other fucking people know were not true. Okay? Stains that never wash off. He carried that weight until the dope carried him under. And anyways, let's keep going. I'm going to get fired up in this episode. I just fucking know that. Meanwhile, the real monsters keep eating. The ones who smash their women's faces into drywall. The ones who lock doors and steal people. The ones who leave scars so deep they bleed for years. They keep walking around untouched. Clean shoes on dirty fucking pavement, smiling wide like predators do when they know they'll never be hunted. It's the sickest kind of fucking justice. Innocence rotting in silence. Guilt strutting around loud and unafraid. Accusations become chains, you know, invisible but heavy. You can't shake them off. Once they stick, you're a marked man, whether you raised a fist or not. And the women who really survive violence get drowned out by all the fucking noise, their truth smeared by false echoes. Now nobody listens. Every voice suspect, every story questioned. This is how the game eats itself. How lives get ruined twice, first by violence, then by lies, and I've seen it. I've lived it. Accusations kill people, but the real perpetrators, the real wolves, the real demons in human skin, they walk unscathed. Like the world itself bends to protect them. And the rest of us? We just try to tell the difference between a weapon made of words and the kind that leave bruises, or worse. But either way, somebody ends up dead, even if they're still fucking breathing. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of questions here, all around false accusations. I'm just going to get into it. So the first one is, why do people assume every man in the game is violent, even if he's not? So I'm going to tell you a story. The father of one of my kids was charged with a bunch of, human trafficking stuff. And sexual assault as well. And let me just say, I knew 2 PIMPs, like real PIMPs in my life. One was a monster. The other one, not so much. And I'm not saying these are good people by any means when I say not so much. I just mean they weren't violent. They didn't hit women. They didn't force women to do sexual acts. You know what I mean? I know that because I was involved with both of them. And I've witnessed fucked up shit. And the violent one, the perpetrator, the monster, the predator, who turns out young children, who trades young children's bodies, like underage children, like teenagers. Like, I know he trades ass for debts. That's what I'll say. That's all I'll fucking say. Okay? So when there's a young girl, and we'll say her mom and her stepdad will say, this is just a scenario, okay? This isn't real, right? So a girl is doing dope with her mom, and her mom turns her the fuck out. Her mom should be under the fucking jail, right? Obviously. But that usually, people that do this very rarely get in trouble for it. Statistically, the number one perpetrator of human trafficking are family members, mothers, fathers, stepfathers. But what I'm talking about, these 2 PIMPs, this mother, had racked up a debt with one of these PIMPs, and the violent one is who I'm talking about. He took the young girl as to clear the debt. Right? I heard that, and I called the fucking cops. The same cop that arrested me for human trafficking only a couple months before. I was out on bail in a trap smoking crack, heard that this had happened, and called the fucking detectives. Because the fuck you are selling your daughter's ass for a fucking drug debt, you fucking dirty bitch. And if I ever see her, we're gonna fight. I'm just saying. Not that story is real or anything. It's all for entertainment purposes, but so yeah, let's get back to accusations. These two men, my baby dad, he was accused of some fucked up shit that I know he didn't do because my ass was traded to him for fucking dope, and he wasn't ever mean to me. He never hurt me. He never hit me. He helped me. He exploited my ass, obviously, but he helped me in my mind when I was a crackhead by exploiting me and giving me ways to make money in the sex work industry. But he never made me do nothing. He just knew all the money that I was making was going to go back to him because he was my plug and I was a crackhead. So I was selling ass for crack, and then all the money that I made went back to him. So yeah, he's going to make ads for me and give me a phone that's going to ring with fucking tricks on it. You know what I mean? But he never hit me, bruh. I escaped from my other baby dad that was violent sometimes to him, and he would like protect me and shit. And he went away for a decade, bitch, over some false ass shit. I remember. Okay, so I'm in detox. I had went from labor and delivery. I had Jamie's kid, Kai, and then I went to labor and delivery. Jamie's kid, Kai. That sounded so cold. I had given birth to Kai, right? And Jamie adopted him, and I was in the mental institution. And I didn't want to be there because it was the bad mental institution. It was like the hospital side, and it fucking sucked. And I kept getting fucking caught shooting up fucking dope and shit, and they were on to me. So I had to leave. And I went to detox, and I didn't know that my kid's dad had gotten picked up for a wacky human trafficking shit. I had no idea. I had just bought dope off him not long ago, so I thought he was on road. So I get to detox, and this chick's talking to me about how she had racked up a big debt with some plug, some pimp, and she was a working girl working out of the telly and shit. And she had racked up a debt, and she accused him of a bunch of fucking violent ass shit and sexual predatory fucking behavior. Like he raped her, bud, and shit. That's what she said. And I was like, who are we talking about here, bud? Because it better not fucking be who I think it is, bro, because shit. And she told me the name, and it was, and I was like, damn. I know for a fact this bitch is lying. I know for a fucking fact this bitch is lying, because I can say so many things about that man. But being violent, not one. Not one. Not one at all. Raping broads? Fuck no. No. I know that. You know? I've known that guy for 20 fucking whole ass years, bud. He's never been violent. Ever. I've never known Gotta block that out. I've never known him to be violent in my life. At all. Bitch, I yell at that man and he just takes it. You know? Yeah, I've never known that man to be violent, so I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But I know he's out now trying to clear his fucking name in the streets, which is fucking ridiculous, because who gives a fuck what anyone in this town thinks? You know what I mean? Nobody gives a fuck. I would never give a fuck what, bitch, I could care less. What are you trying to clear your name for, bro? You did the time. You did a whole decade for some fucking allegations. He's a human trafficker, though. I'm not saying he's not. He is 110% according to the law, but he's not violent. The other PIMP that I was talking to you about, the other one that I fuck with, the one that took the girl for the debt, that man, I watched him grab my friend by the throat and hold her up against the wall, and she had like a good 2 feet off the ground, bruh. And that was his girlfriend at the time. This is a fucking girl that he was fucking with. That was apparently his girlfriend, and he was violent like that with her. So that man should be in Lake Ontario. I'm praying to God one day somebody's going to get that motherfucker. He's already been shot a couple times. So I'm praying to God one day he's in the obits because that man's a monster. Monster. I don't want to name drop, but I really wish I could because that man's a piece of shit. He is such a piece of shit, bro. Fuck. Everybody hates that piece of shit. Anyways, let's move on. What was the question again? I don't even know. You know what? Tales from the Trap is just me out here talking shit. That's all it is. I have a question and I'm like, I don't even answer it. Hope you guys got the answer from that. I don't know. What was the question again? Why do people assume men in the game are violent? I have ADHD. We're going to bring it back. People assume that men in the game are violent because men are violent. And if you have to live in the streets, or like if you live in the streets and that like your business is in the streets, bitch, even I was violent, you know? But I know like when I know a human being and I've known them for years upon years and upon years and I hear shit that they do in the streets and how they move and stuff, I know if I can be like, yeah, that man's a fucking violent motherfucker and that man's not. You know what I mean? But if you're not in it, if you're like a normie, you're going to assume everybody's violent. That's why the cops, when girls say, oh yeah, that man did this, and this to me, it's you're guilty and you got to prove your innocence in court if you're a man. Even for me, I was lucky to plea out. But like my baby dad, he went down on a whole bunch of fucking shit that I know he didn't do. He's a beautiful man with dope and a car, and like, why would he have to rape women? Like, anyways, I won't go into it anymore. But it's just like my other buddy, bro. You're a fucking fine ass man with dope in your pocket in the streets. You got to be out there raping bitches. No, you don't. Bitches be out there sucking your dick in hopes for a fucking crack rock. Right? Why do you have to be out here fucking raping bitches? No, you don't. You just do this in a trap and you'll have your dicky bird fucking gobbled down. Stop. Use logic. I logically, that makes no goddamn motherfucking sense. So we'll go on to the next question. So why do the ones that are really like beating women, raping women, exploiting them, breaking them down, why do they get to walk free while other men just get buried with words? So I'm going to talk about Kevin for a second here. At the end, after Kevin had all those accusations, false accusations, I can't forget that word because false accusations, you know, he was hanging out with some fucking pretty dirty ass fucking people. That's what he had ended up like resorting to. He was lost in his disease. He was having a hard time. And when he died, the people left him there and didn't save him and robbed him first. You know? I knew what they accused him of. Do you think I believed it for a minute? Not a fucking second, bro. Not for a second. And since my podcast has come out and people have heard this story about Kev, other people have come out and been like, I don't believe it either, because I know the fucking dirty ass people, will just say, that are accusing him of it. And how they move in the fucking streets, bruh. Because if you move all fucking shifty and shit, and then you're out here fucking accusing people of shit, and we know that you like to set people up, get the fuck out of here. Literally get the fuck out of here. You dirty fucking bitch. You dirty fucking bitch. Don't for a second pretend that anybody should believe your shit. At all. You're not a victim. Ever, in my eyes. These people. Ever. Well, and I don't want to name drop because I don't need to get some cease and desist shit for some fucking girl hooked on fucking IV drugs, but I'm just saying, message me and I'll tell you. Because I don't give a fuckity fuck. I will tell anybody who asks. Because fuck you, you dirty bitch. Anyways, yeah, so Kev was like resorted to hanging out with fucking degenerates. Like bottom of the barrel. Like I was bottom of the barrel, bro. That's why me and Kev got super close at the end, because he was hanging out with fucking degenerates, but we had known each other from like back. Like he used to have this poker game, and like we went to the raves together and shit. And but like when we were like really fucked up at the end before he died, he was hanging out with fucking degenerates. He was hanging out with anybody he could to fucking get high and not be alone. Because we're told we're not supposed to use fentanyl by ourselves because you can't Narcan yourself, you know? And that was the mindset we were all in. It's like, I'll hang out with who the fuck ever. As long as I know they're gonna Narcan me. The motherfuckers didn't Narcan him. They robbed him, bro. They robbed him, bro. So, and he died. So, you know, that's what accusations do. Because anybody who cares about their reputation isn't going to hang out with a guy with a bunch of fucking hound charges. Are you good? You go into jail and you have to check in. You go into jail and you have to check in because of that shit. You're not going to walk on range with a bunch of hound charges. And that's how it is on Road 2, though. So, in the end, after, you know, I Googled it. I Googled it after people had messaged me about, because I did a whole episode on Kevin. Because fuck you if you don't like him, bruh. Because I'll keep talking about him. I had a whole bunch of people message me and be like, yo, Kevin was charged years ago, a decade ago, with some other accusations, and a good-looking man with dope money, a car, a good life. Yeah, I don't doubt he had accusations, homie. Bitches, do you get what I'm trying to say? Men like that don't need to be out here attacking women. They don't. I'm not saying he didn't like young girls, right? In his 20s and 30s. I'm not saying he didn't fuck with young girls. But out here attacking them sexually and shit, fuck off, bro. Shut the whole ass up. Anyways, but in the end, yeah, Kev had to fucking, he was hanging out with some fucking lowlifes, bro. Like homeless people and shit. Wild, right? That's what accusations do. You know, and in the end, he died alone. He died alone. Because of some bullshit. Because of some bullshit. And even to this day, I'll make shit about Kevin on TikTok and post it publicly, and some anonymous ass fucking loser that's probably covered in track marks is up in my comment section calling him a piece of shit. Show me your face, bud. Show me your face. Show me your face. I'll tell you if you're a piece of shit or not. 9 times out of 10, you are. Right? Takes one to know one, right, homie? Fuck off. I get steamed about this shit, bro. Okay, this is like the 6th time I've restarted this video because I just keep dropping names. So the question is, how does it feel to know that men who have false accusations have more there's more repercussions for men with false accusations than men with real ones, because there's these 2 motherfuckers. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to drop the fucking names and I don't even care, but there are these 2 motherfucking pimps in our city, and they hurt girls, bro. They hurt girls. And the fucked up thing is, it's like, how many times is a motherfucker going to get charged with some whack ass hound shit, some human trafficking shit, and it be true, and they go and they sit there for a few months and then they get out and they don't get punched out in jail because hounds are on NGP? Like, what is happening? What do you mean he's not checked in? What do you mean, bro? My buddy told me the other day that this dude who like turned out his kid, his like young daughter, was on range, and I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's a check-in. He's like, no, he's on range. What the fuck are you talking about? What is happening right now? You guys are gonna sleep next to a fucking rapist? Cool. Like it fucks me up. It fucks me up. I'm gonna try not to drop the names, but these 2 fucking guys that keep getting out, who I know they're victims because a lot of them have gotten clean and have horrific trauma because of these two men. We're not even talking all the babies that they made in the midst of all this shit. But like the violence and the forcing to do sex work, that shit, bro. What do you mean they're in general population? Shut the fuck up. It fucks me up. It fucks me up. And then like somebody like Kev will go get punched out when he goes on range. Why, bro? What do you mean? Fucks me up. Okay, let's just go on to the next question. So the next one is, how do you think that you were close to losing your freedom because of the false accusations against you? So from the beginning, because this girl had made these allegations on other girls before, because she had said another girl had tricked her out too. And I was on range. I get on and I go in and the girl's there and I'm telling her my story. And she's like, yo, about 2 years ago, I got fucking jammed up with the same shit from that girl. Human trafficking, made her do a call. That's what she said. She made her do a call. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to jail. Because I'm like, this bitch knows what she's doing. She's accused people of this before. So when I talked to my lawyer and I told her like all this shit, like I was on range with this girl and I was like, yo, what the fuck? This isn't the first time she's done this. She was like, okay, let me look into this. And she did. And half the shit that this girl, like the timeline didn't make no sense. Half the time that she said I was pimping her out and withholding medication and all this fucked up shit and forcing her to do calls. A couple times there were wellness checks called out on this girl and she was found in her apartment by herself by EMS. So how the fuck am I got you locked up in my pimp dungeon, but you're at home when EMS shows up at your door? Which one is it? You know? So my lawyer was like, and they had us all on video. They had us on video too. Like we were homies, bro. Like they had us on video bringing a fucking 60-inch TV to a fucking drug dealer. They had us on video on the bus. Like she wasn't chained, bro. She wasn't. She was my friend. Like I thought she was. She was my crack friend. We were smoking crack together and selling all her shit. But bitch, I didn't make her. She was older than me, right? What do you mean? So I don't think I was close because I had a really good lawyer. And the vast majority of the charges got dropped because the bitch was a liar. Like, I know what I did was illegal. Now I do because I understand the Canadian Human Trafficking Act. But at the time, I was like, damn, I didn't do nothing. No, you did some shit. You did some shit, Mel. You can't be making ads and stuff for girls. Like, I didn't know that at the time. But now that I know that, this is why I do this. It's because I know so many people out there smoking crack are trying to figure out how to make money. And they're like, hey, why don't we sell our coochie in Toronto? I'll put up a bunch of ads for you, bitch. If that girl flips on you, bro, you just human trafficked her ass. Like, I know how it works. I've heard this before time and time and time again. And like when I came out on TikTok about like what happened to me and I was like, yo, I got jammed up because of some fucked up shit. Girls came out and was like, me too. Me too. I helped this girl make money. She got jammed up on some shit with the cops and said I was trafficking her. I'm like, say less, Pookie. It happened to me too. You know? So that's why I do this. So people know. Don't fuck with sex work, bro. Don't fuck with sex work. I don't think anyone should fuck with sex work. I think that industry is fucked right up. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay, what advice would you give someone right now falsely accused who feel like their whole life is over? Work hard to clear your name. That's it. Work hard to clear your name. If you didn't do what they're saying you did, work hard to clear your name. The best revenge is living well. So get your fucking shit together. Like if okay, I'm me 4 years sober, out of the game, experienced some shit. And I'm talking to a girl who just got jammed up like I did, right? And she's fucked up in the head on crack, selling her coochie for fucking dope. And she's not thinking clearly, right? So nothing I'm going to say to her is going to get through. But if you hear one thing I say, it's get better, bro. Get better. Get straight in the mind and take care of your shit in court. That's it. That's all you can do now. That's all you can do is live well. And then when you come back to court in a year, you'll be able to say, look at all the things that I've accomplished. I'm sober. I've got a place. I got a job. I'm seeing my kids. I'm doing better than I was when you arrested me. That was the only reason I got to walk off. That was the only reason, is because I worked. I worked hard and I had something to show for the last year that I sat on bail, right? So if you're being accused in some fucked up shit, get better. Get out. Let that be a wake-up call for you, because it changed the whole trajectory of my existence. I think all of it was like meant to be kind of thing, because I know that this shit is all like my destiny, bro. Like I believe in that shit. You know what I believe? Like I believe in like making vision boards and shit. Me and my buddy were just talking about that. Like if you're out here, like even fake it till you make it type shit. Like bitch, I'm not Joe Rogan. I got a microphone from Amazon, a fucking third hand fucking iPhone, some fucking things standing up, holding my shit. I'm not, but in my head, I'm Joe Rogan. And I'm going to make something of this. And I'm going to fake it until I do. You know what I mean? The 38 people that watch this episode on YouTube, I'm Joe Rogan, but like, I never contributed anything to society before. I hurt people, you know? I was out there hurting myself. So right now doing this, it's like it people might think it ain't shit, but to me it's a lot, you know? Just live well, bro. Just live well. That's my advice, is like there's nothing you can do if you're being accused of some shit, and all you can do is get better. And let it be a lesson to you, and learn from your mistakes, and educate your fucking self on what you're being charged with. Fuck. Okay. How do we balance holding men accountable while protecting people from lies? So I think we need to get to the truth of like, and it has to be on a case to case basis. So let's talk about Kev for a sec. These people come up, and you look at their history and you see who they are. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very fucking unfortunate that people are accused of something that they didn't do. And then even in death, people are still shitting on them, on their name. You know? That fucks me up about Kev. It's nice to know that there are people out there that think and believe the way I do, that I know that he didn't do whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to get to the truth. I don't know how to protect people while also protecting people from lies. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the answers are. I don't know what the answers are. I know a lot of fucked up shit is done in the midst of active addiction. And that's where all of this stems from. All of it stems from addiction. Because there's motives for people making false claims on others. It's to cover their own ass for whatever. Like, I know so many people who other people have said were hounds, and like, I know they're not, bro. I know they're not. Like, what do you mean these people, like, what? I don't know. Let's go on to a different fucking question. Complicated than that. So when I first got charged, I had been exploited. I didn't know at the time that it was exploitation. I didn't know that I experienced human trafficking. I had no idea. I didn't know until the courts made me fucking do counseling. So in the beginning, when I was being charged and I had just gotten out of jail and I was like trying to stay sober and like doing TikTok and shit, I didn't tell nobody, bruh. And then I kind of went viral for a minute. I had like a couple million views because I did tell people. I came out with it and I was like, I am on bail for human trafficking. This is my story. Use it as a cautionary tale. I educated people on what the Human Trafficking Act of Canada is, and it's not like what you see on Netflix, bro. I wasn't hiding bitches and chaining them up and shit. That's not what human trafficking is. So at first, okay, sorry. Emily wanted me to run a bath for her. So when I first got out and I was making TikToks and I told people that I was on bail for human trafficking, I was educating people. I was like a victim. I was like, I'm a victim. I'm a victim of everybody. And it pissed me off. I was like, if I'm being charged with this, then I want to charge him and I want to charge her and I want to charge them because they all did this to me. And it took a lot of therapy to understand that, yeah, I am a victim of exploitation, but that does not negate the fact that I'm guilty of it as well. And that people who, and I just talked about this on TikTok, it's crazy. So there's this girl who I just do not fuck with. We grew up together. We went to school together. She's the one that ended up getting me into the sex work industry, right? She helped me make ads. She helped me fucking use Plenty of Fish for it. And I don't know, she got me into, she brought me into the most horrific industry that any woman could be in. You know what I mean? And I fucking hate her for it. I hate her for it. I hate the fact that she introduced me to it. She didn't force me to do nothing. It was my doing. I'm the one that decided to do it. But I still like to punch her in the face. Like, so today, my girlfriend tags me in a video this fucking broad made, and I guess she's in recovery now, and she's saying she's a human trafficking survivor. And my first instinct was to be like, fuck that fucking bitch. She's not a survivor. She's the reason I'm even in the industry. She brought me into it in 2010. And then I was like, no, that's not right. That's not right. You don't know what she's been through, Mel. You have no fucking clue what she's been through. If you were exploited, the likelihood of her being exploited as well is very high. You know that, right? So, hurt people. That would be like me being like, that would be like somebody else saying that because I perpetrated acts of human trafficking, that I'm not a human trafficking survivor. That's not right. That's not right. So, like, for me, the label of human trafficker is literally what I use it to my advantage, bro. Bitch, I'm being paid to do speaking engagements and shit. Like, I'm using it to not only be a cautionary tale, I'm using it like it's power. It's a part of my story that is not like, not everybody has that kind of story the way I do with the human trafficking element, right? Lots of people are addicts. Lots of people come out here and make content about addiction. Lots of women come out here and make content about being a 304 or a former 304. Not lots of people come out here talking about how they're a convicted human trafficker. That's the edge that I have. And it's interesting and it pulls people in because when you hear the word human trafficking, you're like, damn, like Liam Neeson and Taken, that kind of shit, you know? So it draws people in. And then I have the opportunity to use that as a teaching moment to educate people on what human trafficking actually is, you know? I love being able to explain to people that statistically, intimate partners, especially addicts, bring their girlfriends into sex work in order to fuel and feed their addiction. That's what happened to me. He didn't bring me into it, but he sure as hell did other things, right? And that's exploitation. That's human trafficking. You can't be involved in your wife's fucking sex work, bro. You can't sit outside on the stroll and watch her do calls and then take her money and shit. You can't do that. That's human trafficking. At the time, I didn't know that, right? And it fucked me up in the beginning because I was like, yo, bro, what do you mean I'm getting charged? Charge him too then. And I was like out for blood, bro. I was like going to be charging people. And like, I was mad. I'm like, what do you mean you're charging me? That guy fucking would attack me for my money. You know, like, what do you mean? He would rob me. He would fucking hit me and shit. I'm going to jail. Bro, the only reason I'm in this situation is because I'm so fucked up from what he did to me. Or what about him? What about the other guy? The one who gave me a phone and an apartment and put up the ads and made the little blurbs and talked about my restrictions and what I wouldn't do because he knew the minute I would get a call, that was money in his pocket because he was my plug. That's fucking exploitation, homie. So I was pissed. I was pissed because my exploitation was very well documented, especially out on the stroll, because people would see it being like go on, like normies in the community would be like, yo, that girl is getting pimped out. We see her man there every day. He's pimping her out. And the cops would roll up and I would be like, no, he's just making sure I'm okay. No, he's not. No, the fuck he isn't. You know what I mean? So I was pissed and I was like, I'm charging them all. And then a year went by and my charges were dealt with. And that victimization, like my victimhood, because I was everybody's victim. Nothing was ever my fault. You know, it kind of slowly like went away. Now, like, if you want to be mad at me and call me a human trafficker, you're not lying. But you're not hurting my feelings either, bitch. Yeah, I'm a convicted human trafficker. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't traffic people. I brought women into the sex work industry, and that's illegal in my country. So I could care less. A lot of times people like on TikTok, they'll be like mad trolls. And they'll be like, they'll get mad at me or something and they'll call me a human trafficker. And I'm like, was it a secret? Like, I just try to fuck with them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I could care less. It'll be different when my girls are a little bit older and their friends can Google my name and shit. But right now, if you Google my name, none of that comes up. The only shit that comes up is the shit that I put out there. I control the narrative now, bro. So if you Google my name, you're going to see my podcast. You're not going to see the misery that I perpetrated. Trust me, bitch. You're not. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. This is kind of like the what I was talking about in the last question. What was surviving human trafficking and then being labeled a trafficker yourself feel like? Everything I literally just said. I was like, when I found out that I was a victim of exploitation or like human trafficking or whatever, being turned out, I was like, well, then what the fuck? Charge them too. You know what I mean? I was pissed. But I got over it. Because, like I said, I use this shit to my advantage now. You know what I mean? I don't let it define me at all. I'm using it to help other people. But in the beginning, it was fucking rough. Let me just say that. It was fucking rough. How did it feel to be arrested when you were a victim too? It felt rough. It was fucked up. I was really angry for a really long time. I was like, how the fuck did I get turned out and I'm sitting in fucking jail, you know, for the shit this guy showed me how to do. You know, but then when they came to me asking for names, I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about because I'm not a fucking goof, you know? So yeah, it pissed me the fuck off because I'm not a rat fucking goof bitch, you know, which is fucked because I should have. Do you think the system punishes survivors for not telling, even when silence is survival? Yeah. Yes, 110 fucking %. Yes. Right now, there's a friend of mine whose daughter is being trafficked. And as soon as we brought up the police, they were like, we don't want to say nothing. We don't want to be involved. Like, we don't want your resources. We don't want your help. And that's how it punishes fucking survivors. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to get involved with the cops. And that's how it punishes people. It keeps us sick. It keeps us down because, like, nobody wants to be that person. I'll be that person. If I know somebody is being trafficked, I'll be that person. You just tell me who it is, bitch, and I'll fucking rat them out. I don't give a fuckity fuck. You know? But when you're in it or you're just freshly out, it's hard to decide if you're going to tell the police what you've been through. I wasn't strong enough to do it. I didn't want to do anything like that. Like I did. I was telling everybody I was going to charge the motherfucker, but in the end, I didn't say shit about shit. Because nobody wants to get involved with the fucking police, bitch. Damn. Not as a victim or a perpetrator. Huh. Fuck no. Looking back, do you think co-parenting would have changed? What? Oh, not co-parenting. Cooperating. Looking back, do you think cooperating would have changed your outcome or put you in more danger? I'm assuming cooperating means like flipping on people. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to do that. Not when you're exploited by someone you fucking love. It's not easy. It's not easy. Especially years later. It like my charges came years after my own experience with being exploited. So it was like, what? I'm going to come out years later when I got charged and flip on him? No, bro. He changed his whole life. He's good now. Like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I wanted to. Fuck did I ever want to. But I'm not that girl. I can't do that. I'm not about to ruin someone's life on some petty shit. Because let me just say, sorry, I'm smoking. I know how sick I was. And I've said this before. I know how sick I was, right? I was turning out my girlfriends. I was tricking out my friends. So I know if the roles would have been reversed with me and my partner and he was the woman and I was the man, bitch, I would have had him on the stroll too. Because I was desperate. I was desperate for my drugs of choice. So how am I knowing that? Because I'm grown and I've had so much evolution as a human, and I'm just not that person anymore. And I understand that if the roles were reversed, I would have done the same thing. And I see how good these people are doing today. Right? So, I don't think that ever would have been like something I would have done. Ever. It's fucked up for you when you're a victim of it and you hate that person because of what they did, but you also love them because you have a personal connection to them. That fucks you up. That's when you get therapy. That's what I did. I got therapy. I got therapy. Why did you choose not to rat? Because what would it have accomplished? I was going to get up on the stand and fucking flip on my fucking... No. It was years after. I could have. There's no statute of limitations on it. I could have. But I'm just... They know. I know how I feel because of I exploited good people too. So I know they sit in that grief. I know they sit in that guilt and shame considering I am the mother of, So I know they sit in it. I'm not stupid because I do too. They're not monsters. Neither am I. So what would it have it have accomplished? I would have looked at like more of a victim. But I didn't have to charge nobody to be seen as a victim. People knew it was well documented. Right? So what would it have accomplished? I remember getting a phone call from one of their ex-girlfriends. And I guess he had admitted to her that he trafficked me. And I was like, that's all the closure I need, bro. That's all the closure I need. Because if you're still thinking about it a decade later, bro, no charges I would have put on your ass would have been worse than what you fucking feel. I bet. Because I know how I feel. And I sit in my guilt. And I sit in my shame and my grief. And I know it's not fun. Right? Because I hurt people I love too in that regard. I turned out my friends, bro. I brought women into the sex work industry because I was tired and I didn't want to do it anymore. Not that night anyways. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, you go do a fucking call. I was over it. And that's what happens to women in the industry. That's how we get jammed up like that. You're tired. It's not fun. So what's the hardest part of telling your story publicly? Having to talk about the people who exploited me. Now that's the hardest part, because I don't want to be out here on some fucking petty shit. But I can't talk about it. Like, I don't even tell you who it is. If you haven't noticed, I haven't told you nothing. People who know, and the people who don't, read between the motherfucking lines, bitch. You know? I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to say who it is. But that's the hardest part. Because because I did some fucked up shit too. And I know how it would feel if some broad popped up with a podcast and was dropping all my fucking shit that I did on my worst day. So I tried my very fucking best not to portray these people as monsters when I know for a fact they weren't. They were just sick. But that's the hardest part. My kids are going to see this shit one day, you know? My kids are going to ask when they're older, what were you talking about there, Mom? So that's the hardest part. Let's go on to the next story. So I don't know if I haven't talked to you guys about this, but there's a anti-human trafficking nonprofit in our community that hired me to do a speaking engagement in September 24th. I'll put the link in the bio. It's a virtual speaking engagement. Anybody can join. It's over Zoom. The link will be in the bio, and you guys can come out and watch me tell my story. And when I was hired, we were talking, my contact at the organization, she was saying, I'm going to come out and talk about who you are first and explain that statistically this is what happens, because they've never had a human trafficker come out and talk. That's the edge I have, right? But in order for me to be able to come out there and you guys to receive my message correctly, you need to understand statistically this is what happens. That's why I come out here and that's like the first thing I say, because who's going to be out here feeling I don't want sympathy or nothing. Like, that's not what I shouldn't have said sympathy, but who's going to come out here and receive this message with an open heart and an open mind if you're seeing me as a monster? Because that's all people see is the headline, right? Human trafficking conviction. That's all people see. They don't understand that statistically hurt people. And when you're a woman in the life and you've been turned out by people you fucking love, that's what happens. That's what happens. So the girl had said, I'm going to come out and talk about this first, and then you're going to come out and tell your story, because we want people to be out here with an open heart and an open mind, receiving your message correctly. And that's the hardest part of coming out publicly. It's because I have to have a fucking introduction so people don't think I'm a monster just because of the headline human trafficking. You know? I'm glad we're in a place in 2025. Like, I thought of the Menendez brothers, even though, the States is fucked up and they don't know what they're doing over there. But at least people are taking in their message with an open heart and an open mind, and understand that they perpetrated those acts because they were exploited, molested. You know what I mean? So that is what I love about the society we live in today, is that we can look back on cases like the Menendez brothers or whatever and understand that they were just as much of a fucking victim. But it's still hard. It's still hard. I can imagine how hard it is for people like that. I have a cousin who did the same thing. He unalived a person that he loved. And I couldn't imagine how that feels afterwards, because I know how I feel coming out saying that I got charged with human trafficking. So I couldn't imagine murder, and that's the hardest part. It's the stigma. It's the negative shit. I don't pay no mind to it. And honestly, I don't get it that much. I honestly don't. I do on Instagram, like Instagram, that I can't even fuck with none of the human trafficking shit on Instagram. Bro, I tried that one time and I had to take the video down because I thought the cops were going to show up at my door. That people went crazy. And that's why I'm so happy at the reception I got on TikTok, and that I used TikTok to come out with it years ago, because they were all like, the recovery community was just like, bro, we all been there. We all turned out a bitch. Don't worry. Come on, you know? But when I told my story on Instagram, bruh, I'm surprised my kids are still with me. Because damn, the private messages that I was getting, calling me a monster and shit. Sorry, I just want to move this up a bit. My back is very sore. So yeah. Let's go on to one. How many? We got a little bit of time left. One or two more questions. What advice do you have for other survivors who've been criminalized instead of protected? Tell your story. That is my number one fucking advice to anybody who's experienced what I've experienced. Tell your fucking story. Tell your story. Just because you were criminalized does not mean that you're not a victim. Does not mean that you don't have a story to tell. And wouldn't you rather control the fucking narrative? Because if you were a victim who turned around and victimized someone else, 9 times out of 10 people are talking about it, right? So why don't you come out and control the narrative, and you'll heal in the midst of it. I promise you. You will. Changed my whole life coming out here, admitting and educating others about what human trafficking is. It changed my whole life. This is my purpose today. And it saved me. It really, really did. Okay. Do you think telling your truth now can help change other people see others in your shoes? Yes. 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 Women like me who were jammed up one time on some human trafficking shit statistically don't keep perpetrating the act, right? I know a lot of girls who got jammed up on the same shit I did, who are out here telling their story and helping others in that regard. So yeah, I definitely think that by telling the truth about what happened to the perpetrators, because if you know the history of someone who did a really bad act, you can empathize. You can put yourself in their shoes and say, well, fuck, if I was pimped out and raped and all this shit, no wonder they did what they had to do to survive. I would have done the same thing if I had to, right? And unless you're an addict or you understand that world, you probably won't get it. But people who do get it have empathy because they can understand the position you're put in, right? I was out there trying to kill myself. So yeah, I was out there hurting other people too. Obviously. When you look back now, do you see yourself as a victim, a survivor, or both? I think I'm a survivor of the sex work industry. And being in the sex work industry 9 times out of 10 involved being turned the fuck out. Trafficked. 100%. Most of the time. So I don't say I'm a survivor of human trafficking. A lot of the times, I'm a survivor of the sex work industry because it wasn't just one perpetrator. It was the whole industry. It was the girl who brought me into it and showed me the ropes. It was the man who gave me the cell phone and the apartment to trick out of, who was trading dope for sex. And it is the other person who, instead of telling the woman he loved that you don't have to do this, he did the opposite. So I'm a victim of that whole fucking world, bro. Or it's not, sorry. I hate the word victim, bitch, because I ain't no motherfucking victim. Fuck. I'm a survivor. But I'm also a perpetrator too, right? It's a double-edged sword in that regards, because I can't come out here with my victimhood and not mention that I also exploited people too, right? Because that'd be some bullshit. And I'm not about that. I'm about being real and authentic and all that shit, right? So, do you ever think you'd spend the rest of your life being remembered for that charge? I didn't think that I'd get sober. I didn't think I'd ever be here with a mic in my hand and hadn't touched a pipe in years. I didn't think that I would be single and like raising my kids in a healthy, stable environment. And I definitely didn't think that I would be out here telling my story. I had spent so long living in shame and guilt and all that shit that I never for a second thought that I would be out here being vulnerable and real, because the streets don't reward vulnerability at all, bro. Like, you can't be vulnerable out there. That's just not how it goes. So I never thought that I would be vulnerable online and be telling people shit. No. No. The fuck? I didn't see any of this shit for myself, or I would have got clean years ago, bitch. You know? It's crazy how social media played a role in my fucking recovery. Wild. How like literally the stars aligned and there were so many things that had to be like boom, 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 boom in order for me to for my life's trajectory to change. One of those things were out of sync and it may not have happened. Right? How did the charges almost ruin your chance at motherhood? So I got charged, right? I sat in the bucket for a few months. I get out. I go on a big terror. I overdose. I get bear maced. I'm robbing drug dealers and shit. And I decide I'm going to go home and get clean. One of the first things I did when I went home was file for custody of my youngest daughter, because they weren't letting us see her for good reason. I was fucked up. But I knew that my charges and my family court case were going to intersect at some point, and they did right away. And that lawyer, their lawyer that they hired, that piece of shit, Lance Talbot, every chance he got, that motherfucker called me a human trafficker in court. So many times. He brought up my charges so many times that the judge had to tell him to shut the fuck up. She's done. It's done. She did her time. She's done her fucking whatever. Stop. Every single chance he got, that motherfucker brought up the fact that I was charged with human trafficking. So yeah, I 100% thought, especially when child protection got involved and they were checking me out to see if I was actually sober and if I was doing well, I never thought for a second that they would see human trafficking and not give a fuck, because they really didn't. I got custody of 2 of my kids back after being charged with human trafficking. I thought that word was going to ruin my life. And it didn't. Because I used it to my advantage. And so many people don't understand that if I would have just quietly went away, the way people perceive me today would not be the way they perceive me today. If I would have just went away after that. Because it was in the paper. People fucking knew. Right? People are still fucking talking about it. It's fucked up. But at least now I get to control the narrative. And I don't gotta worry about nobody coming up on some fucking weird shit. Because everybody knows the story. Okay? But I definitely thought it was gonna affect my ability to get my kids back. And it didn't. It really didn't. Because, bitch, I proved myself. I proved myself. And anybody could do that. Anybody can come back from any kind of fucked up charge. If you got jammed up on some shit, the best thing you can do is change your life afterwards. Or you're proving them right. You know, if you want to be institutionalized and in and out of jail in your 40s, Pookie, have at her. That's not me. That's not me, bro. I can't believe people still sit in the trap fucking chopping dope in their 40s. Bro, you good? That's embarrassing. Thank God for getting out. Okay, so we're going to do one more question. Do you feel like your story is proof that the justice system doesn't understand the realities of the game? Yeah. I can't say that because I was extremely fortunate that they did see me as a victim. All of it has been well documented. So when the article came out in the paper The headline was human trafficking survivor traffics vulnerable women into the Sudbury sex trade or whatever. Every time it's talked about, it's victimized. So people still understand that I've been through some shit too, right? So I was lucky. That doesn't happen with everybody. But let me just say, if you're out here getting arrested for the same shit over and over and over and over and over again, bitch, you're not a victim. Like, what? I didn't even know what I was doing was illegal, homie. Okay, if you're out here being charged with human trafficking time and time and time again, and you may have been victimized once in your life, Pookie, sorry. We are not the same. We are not the same. Because I got one human trafficking charge and I'm going to spend the rest of my fucking life using it to educate people and to give others a cautionary tale. But if you're going to be up here getting jammed up for the same fucking shit over and over and over again and call yourself a victim because someone fucking did something to you 10 years ago, Pookie, stop. Stop. Get better. You know, I can't blame the justice system for anything that happened to me because that charge and all that shit changed my whole life and got me better, bro. So I don't have nothing to say about my own shit. I know, like, if we're going to talk about Kevin's accusations, the court believes women over men regardless. Always. It'll always be like that. Women are victims in the eyes of the justice system, right? So if a woman and her mother and her sister are all going to come out against one man with a pretty bad criminal history, the justice system isn't going to see him as anything but what they're accusing him of. That's the part that's fucked up. That's the part that fucks me up. Because you can be a dope dealer, you can be a trapper, you can be a fucking biker, you could be whatever the fuck involved in that life and still be a really good fucking human being that I would have around my kids. You know, just because you're in that game does not mean you're a bad person. Does not mean you should not be allowed around children. Let me say that. And I think the justice system gets that part wrong a lot of the times. Because when you're in and out of jail and you're institutionalized like that, you have a hard time figuring out another way to live, right? You have a hard time getting legitimate work. You have a hard time not making moves so you can make money because that's just all you know. Does not for a second mean you're a bad person. And people who think that just don't understand. Because I've met more good people on the streets than I met in normie society. Let me just say that. More people that I know from the life I would have around my kids than people I know in normal society. I know these motherfuckers would die from my babies. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say that about everybody else. So just because you're in that game, it does not mean you're a bad person. And I think the justice system gets that wrong a lot of the times. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me on this fucking whack-ass episode. I tried, bitch. The next one's going to be better. I love you so much. Chi Miigwech.